Been out here today filling up my bucket with dirt from all that dirt that was left out of that box where I grew my potatoes. I told you I was going to reuse it. Well, I went ahead and put some in the top of these buckets because I put some some of the plants that have died from the cold. I broke them up and put them in the top of those buckets and put that dirt in on top of them so they'll break down. And over here, I did the same thing with these green ones. Some of those green melons that I had left, they didn't fully ripen, so I cut them up. You can probably see some down in there. And cut them up and put them down in there. And then I put some of that dirt from that box on top. I'm getting ready to dump some table scraps and other stuff right here in this one. Right there. Let's see if I can mount this up here. I don't know. And that's the same way I'm getting ready to do this one. I'm going to put some of the... See, I got bread. I got an old piece of squash. I got some okra. All that stuff. And I'm just going to put some of that dirt that was from in that box that had all that broken down table scraps and everything else right in the top of it. And then that's going to be right ready for me to plant in again. Trying to get this camera. But I'm up here trying to do the same thing to these buckets. I need to put just a little bit more dirt in the top of them. Because instead of that stuff breaking down and turning into mulch, if you don't cover it up, it'll dry out on you. Huh. I believe it. I found another little potato. I don't know if you can see that, but I'll leave him right in there. Just a little bit more in this one, I guess, but probably end up with a potato growing out of that with that little potato in there, but oh well, because they grow from potato peelings. Any part of the potato you throw in the compost, you'll end up with potato plants. If I could get the sweet potatoes to do that, it would be okay. But see how I got them topped off with all that broken down composted dirt that was in those boxes, or in that big old box that the potatoes was in. So we're supposed to get more rain, I think Tuesday, Wednesday, and some colder temperatures. So this will help break all that stuff down in that. And I'll probably put a little bit more dirt in there before I actually plant. Maybe just a little bit of potting mix in the top maybe, or I may just put some more of this broken down composted dirt in there. And I know I'm not showing things very good with the camera. Apologize for that. It's kind of hard to do this kind of thing and hold the camera at the same time, so I try to put it down and do the best I can. So yeah, but there's a lot more stuff we can plant in December. So you need to get your pots ready if you want to plant some more stuff. Because we can plant turnips and beets, even lettuce and stuff here in December. I've got a whole list of stuff, and when it gets time to plant it, I'll do a video on it and show you what I'm doing. I guess I need to take my hummingbird feeders down. This one is, I don't know, it's trying to leak out all the nectar. And they need to be cleaned too, so. And you can see I've got more tomato plants that the cold is pretty much done in, so I need to clean all them up too and start putting them in more buckets and make compost out of them. The okra plants out there as well. Well, I've been letting my hot glue gun warm up while I was sitting here drinking me a little bit of coffee. Because I'm trying to get ready to plant some winter stuff. And I needed to put holes in some more buckets. But I didn't want to go to the trouble to get the drill out. So what I'm doing is using my hot glue gun. I'm just letting it heat up really hot. And then what I can do is just melt the hole right in there. It works pretty good. And this is just a cheap, what, like $5 or $6 hot glue gun that I bought. I had been doing other crafts and I needed a hot glue gun, so I bought this one. And I hadn't seen a soldering iron or anything else I could use right on top of my head, you know, at the store to use to put the holes in there. So, like I said, I've just been using my hot glue gun. So if you don't have a drill and you've done crafts and you happen to have a hot glue gun, you can do it the same way. And I don't know about any of the buckets that you might find, but if you look close, they're kind of sectioned off. And I usually go by because it's real shiny on this bottom part, and it stops right at, well, I'm going to drop it, put the glue gun in. It stops right about there. That's probably about 1.5 inches deep, right there. And that's where I'm going to put my hole. But I'm going to come over here and put it on the side. And there's usually a halfway mark. Well, on some of them. But I just go down the center of the writing because I want my flag to be on the front. So I just use that as a guide of how deep I want it, so I don't have to measure it each time. And you can see the hot glue gun goes in there really quick when you let it get real hot. And you can move it around quite a bit. Make that hole widen up. And so far, I found that to be sufficient for drainage, because it makes a pretty good size hole. And later on, if I need more drainage or this one gets stopped up, I can put another hole on either side of it. But for right now, I'm just going to leave it like that. Put a hole on each side about halfway. So I've got my flag in the front. And I've got 3 bucket planters already out there, so I'm just going to use these, I think, sitting on the ground or on a rock. And I put them usually on rocks, or I elevate them just a tiny bit. That way, when I get ready to mow, if I need to mow around them, I'm not going to hit the bucket. The cord on my mower will need to get some of that stuff off. Yeah, you tend to have a little bit of buildup on your glue gun, kind of like that. But I usually take a piece of cardboard and just run it around the edges, and that usually will get it off. And in using it, it'll get it off too. Try to smooth it out a little bit. There. So that's one bucket. Well, I should have put that one a little bit further back, but that's okay. Yeah, I try to go halfway between the flag or the picture on the front and the Lowe's mark on the back. Just because I don't want it draining on the front. And then later, if I decide to make a planter out of it, all I have to do is drill the holes in the bottom. Of course, I'd have to dump the dirt out. And then put notches in the bottom of the bucket, but I'd already have my holes on each side. So it'll be versatile. You know, I can change it up later if I want to. I just don't want all my buckets done up in big planters, so. Let's see. Right there. But it's easy enough to do, and that way I don't have to go out there and dig out the drill. Yeah, I can't talk this morning. The drill and the cord and do all that. But yeah, there's quite a few crops you can plant in the wintertime, so I'm at least fixing 4 more buckets. I've got a few more buckets out there, but for right now I'm going to stick with these 4 because I'll have to fill them up with rotted bark, you know, decayed tree bark and stuff like that. And cardboard, paper, that type of thing. So I try to accumulate all the toilet paper rolls, cardboard, stuff like that I can to put in there. Plus I'll have green leafy matter from the plants that are dying off from the coal. I know it's supposed to get down to 31 sometime this week at night. But you know, that still may not be cold enough, long enough to destroy too many more of my plants. So, and I don't have any idea that my plants are going to survive the winter. But I don't like to pull them out unless I know they're not going to make it. Because you never know. Texas has had mild winters before. Enough that, and I'm not putting these holes in the right places. But like I said, as long as they're on the side and they're not draining in the front, that's okay. Because I don't think I'm going to end up putting these in a planter. I'm just going to leave them separate. And I like to start at least by that shiny rim. I don't know if it even shows up, but there's a faint line because it gets a little rough here and it's real slick here. I use that as my guideline to go by where to put my holes. I'm trying to show it, but I don't know how much of it is showing up on the film. That way I don't have to measure it. And usually that's pretty good. That's a pretty good marking spot for your holes. Get this one here. And like I said, I got a few more out in the shed. I'm not sure where I'm going to put those or what I'm going to put in them. But I do know I'll have a few more pots that comes available as some of those plants die. So I may not need all the buckets right now. I'm just going to fix these 4 more as extras just in case. That one will go right there. And it's slick, y'all. You have to put it on there and hold it a minute and let it melt, so it starts going in and it don't just slide across the top of the bucket. Can't just put it on there and push it through. Because the hot glue gun don't get quite that hot. The soldering iron may. I don't know. I've not used one of those on the buckets or the totes yet. So I found that the hot glue gun works just as well, so I didn't want to go to the expense to purchase a hot glue gun. And I try to clean as much off of the hot glue gun as I can. While I've got it hot. That way it doesn't get on any other projects that I might come up with later. But it's just that easy, y'all. So if you have a hot glue gun and don't want to go to the trouble to get out your drill, or if you don't have a drill and you don't want to go to the expense to get a drill, just get you a cheap hot glue gun. They work just as well. But there's 4 more buckets that I'm going to be taking outside, and I'm going to be putting the wood bar, cardboard, broken down leaves. I'm going to be putting table scraps if I have any. Right now I don't have any. And plenty of the plant matter from the dying plants that I've got out there, because that'll break down and make great mulch, and it feeds the plants. The plants love all of those green tomato vines and pepper vine plants and all the other stuff as it breaks down in the bucket, because it makes fertilizer, it makes good soil, and the plants love it. Well, I'm out here trying to get my buckets filled up. I had to take my car, put it in the shop to get that dent fixed. And got home and decided I wanted to get this done before it gets dark on me. And I've already went out there and got this rotted down stuff. Can't get that one broke. For the most part, it's rotted. I use basically the rotted stuff, not the stuff I can't break. Yeah, I'm getting ready to plant some winter stuff. Or stuff I'm supposed to be able to plant in December. So we'll see how it works out. But I wanted to go ahead and get the bucket set up. You know, I've been working on buckets for several days now. I've got some other ones already set up. And I do overfill mine a little bit because, you know, it breaks down over time. Yeah, I went over there and got enough to do 4. Putting this stuff in the bottom. Whew. And it's supposed to be like 77 degrees today here. I mean, that's Texas for you. If you don't like the weather, just wait a minute and it'll change. Because it's going to be like a high 55 tomorrow. So I got to break up my cardboard. All this cardboard and newspapers and stuff and the broken down leaves and trees and all that stuff is all like fertilizer to your plants. I mean, that's the way nature grows stuff, and that's the way I'm growing stuff in my garden. Yeah, I didn't change when I came from town. I just thought I'd get out here and do this before it got dark. Some of this cardboard is a little bit hard to break up. Ooh, and I'm already sweating, guys. My body can, you know, holds a lot of water, moisture, and I get out here moving around and it gets a little bit warm, I will definitely sweat. But then that's nature's way of cooling your body off. Just like growing in this stuff is nature's way of providing you with soil and fertilizer and everything else. So yeah, I'm hoping in a couple of days to be able to plant. I don't really have table scraps to put in here. But I do have broken green matter, you know, that's from the tomato plants that have died. And a couple of the other plants that have not withstood the cooler nights that we've had. This is supposed to get down to 35 tonight. And they've changed the forecast. It's going to be 33 tomorrow night, not 31 like I first thought. So, I mean, if we continue to have this kind of weather, I mean, a lot of my plants will survive through the winter, but I'm not counting on it. And I had gotten newspapers, toilet rolls, paper towels, and other stuff that was in the house that I was saving. Oh, one or two of these still had a green tomato on it. Break that up in there. Some of it's still green. Some of it's not. But when I had been putting most of my table scraps, or my peelings and stuff like that, not actual table scraps, but peelings, stuff like that, I've been putting in my compost tea bucket and my trash cans. I've got a lot of broken down tomato plants in there already that is going to provide me with some good compost tea. And that's going to be all the fertilizer I put to my plants this year. It's compost tea, because that's going to be all you need. Yeah, I don't normally dress like this to do anything in the yard, but for one, it's usually been too hot to even think about having my hair down. And then I don't usually wear anything but old clothes working in the yard, because I never know what I'm going to get on them. That's not broke down. Some of that's not broke down good yet, so I'll have to wait on some of them. But I think I got a few more. Tomato plants I can get. Because like I said, I don't have to put too much of it in there. It doesn't need a whole lot. Especially when you're using some really strong compost tea like I'm going to be using. The tree bark and all this other stuff is pretty much enough to plant in. Because if you keep your compost tea real strong, then that makes up for the stuff that you don't put in there that will break down. Like I said, I'm going to be putting a lot of those dead vines and pepper plants and stuff like that. I'm going to be putting a lot of those in my compost tea. Spread that all around on there. And that's all dirt from the cardboard box. Like I told you, that even though my potatoes didn't do too well in the heat, what it did do was give me quite a bit of dirt, broken down matter to use in my pots. So just what I got in there now has got it about 3/4 of the way full. I do need to put a little bit more dirt in there though, so I'm gonna do that right now. If I don't spin you around too bad. because a lot of this is going to be growing my winter crop. Because all that matter's already broke down in there for the most part. All the food scraps, the green matter, and everything else. Keep enough on the top to break it down. And then as I get food scraps, I can come out here and add food scraps and just take my little handy tool here and dig a hole and put the food scraps right down in the hole. And y'all to know, I got a notice from the water company. I guess they finally got the water thing situated or got the parts that they needed. But yeah, they went up $10 on my charges for my water bill per month. And get this, y'all, because I filed the claim on my car to get it fixed, just that fender, because the cops found the person that did it, but they said there was no evidence on his old rusty, beat up, banged up truck that he hit anybody, which I find to be pretty hard to believe. But yet he's probably got so many nicks and bangs and dents, and there's so much rust on the truck to begin with. You know, you couldn't tell where he might have hit my car. So it had to be filed on my insurance. Guess what? I just put the car in the shop this morning to get it fixed. $1,500 on insurance. But I also got my bill for renewal on my insurance for this coming year. Next year, and they only went up $36.43 per month on my insurance because of that claim. And as always, you got to keep the stuff watered down good. Just water it good, soak it. Which right now you don't have to keep things watered quite as much because it's kind of cooled off, and we have been getting a little bit of rain. The ground is still wet for the most part. So that's a good thing about a winter crop, is you don't have to worry about watering it quite as much. And you can get out and work in your garden, and it's not as hot. Take small favors as I can get them. This old hose don't like the cold weather because it's got stiff on it. And it's harder to deal with. So, and before I plant in them, I will look like a wild woman with my hair flying around like it is. But before I plant in those, I will put more dirt in the top. But I'm going to leave it like that. Just leave them sitting right there for a couple of days before I try to plant anything in them. And like I said, I will put more dirt or soil. Probably get some more from around under the tree, or maybe some more from over there before I plant anything in them. But I'm going to leave them sitting right there. Let them settle down a little bit. Notice how dry they get, and keep them watered. Or keep water to them so they don't dry out. So I can plant. And see, you know, I had the other 4 right over there in the last video. So that makes me 8 new buckets, counting the 2 planters I got over there, 5-gallon planters, and then I got the 5-gallon bucket, 5-gallon bucket planter over there. I guess you can see it. I don't know what I'm aiming at here. Yeah, through the bushes. But I don't want to make this video too much longer. So, and see, I was kind of worried about that little guy right there for a while. But it's got new leaves. And it's got new leaves coming down in there, so it'll be all right. It'll catch up with the other one. But there was some bugs got on it that I didn't catch, and because this one's doing fine. But it only takes one little bug to get on there and just cause disaster. But with that, I'm going to wish everyone a good day. And I will, please like, share, subscribe to my videos. And please hit the thumbs up button. I need all the likes I can get. And if you want to support my channel more, please go to patreon.com/Linda Hauser. And you can support me even more there. So I'll be able to continue on with my channel. And I'll see you on the next one. Y'all have a blessed evening.